Hello and welcome to our third Herbology 201 class. This class is on camphor and chaparral. Just a quick overview of our lessons. So this is lesson 3. Our next class is on licorice and turmeric. We just studied eucalyptus and lobelia. Today we are going to study fomentations as well. So let's get started. All right, so your class tasks for this week are as follows. Obviously, you want to listen to this class video. You're going to watch the video on fomentations, and you are going to answer our weekly class questions. So let's talk about some properties first of all. So the first new property that we're going to introduce is parasiticide. Parasiticide is a substance that is used to kill parasites. The next one is it's an antifungal. An antifungal is a substance that prevents the growth of yeasts and other fungal organisms. So now let's go ahead and let's talk about our two herbs for today, chaparral and camphor. The first one we're going to talk about is chaparral. It's also known sometimes as creosote. The botanical name is Laurea tridenta. And it is native to the American Southwest. If you go out into the desert, you will see this plant, and I have actually done this in Arizona. I have pictures of the creosote plant, chaparral plant, that I've taken in Arizona, so it's really out there. Typically, the parts that are used are the leaves, and it has a few different properties. It's an antibiotic, it is an antiseptic, it is a parasiticide, and it is an antifungal. It's a really interesting plant. It's actually one of the oldest plants on the earth, and there is actually a stand, a group of chaparral bush known as king clone. It's in the Mojave Desert, and it is estimated to be approximately 11,000 years old. Okay, so it grows, it spreads out by its roots, it clones itself, and as such, the plant just keeps going on for a very, very long time. It is also one of the first plants to grow back in Yucca Flats after the 1962 nuclear bombing. So not only is it long-lived, it's also pretty hardy. So really a very interesting plant. So how are we going to use it? So it is commonly used in salves as an antifungal for ringworm. Sometimes it is used in compresses and fomentations, like we're going to talk about today, to help relieve sore muscles. It can also be used to preserve wood. You hear it referred to as creosote plant. Creosote is something that is used to preserve wood. However, we typically these days use coal tar creosote to preserve our wood. So if you have ever been around railroad tracks and the railroad ties, the wooden parts of the railroad, and they have that thick stuff on the outside of the wood part, the railroad ties, that's called creosote, okay? And when we're talking about railroad ties, typically the creosote on a railroad tie comes from coal tar, not from chaparral. But chaparral can also be used in this way to preserve wood. And it is also called creosote plant, just like coal tar creosote. It is used to treat eczema and psoriasis, interestingly enough, so is coal tar creosote. But chaparral is probably a little bit better for you than coal tar creosote to treat eczema and psoriasis. However, chaparral is one of those plants that is best used externally. Now, in the American Southwest, they do use it in some cooking. You can find some uses of it for cooking, but it's not so common, and it is probably one that is best to be left to external use only. So that's a little bit about creosote or chaparral. So the next plant we're going to talk about today is camphor. The botanical name for camphor is Cinnamomum camphora. And if you notice that the first part of that botanical name sounds like cinnamon, that's because the two are related, although they do have very, very different scents um, from each other. But they are in fact related, which is kind of interesting. Camphor is native to China, to the area south of the Yangtze River. It has, however, been introduced into several other countries. In fact, and it's problematic. In fact, it is considered invasive in the state of Florida. Um, the reason that it is considered invasive, the trees are very long-lived. They can live to be over 1,000 years old. And the leaves, when they fall to the ground, they will kill any other plants around them and prevent new plants from growing. So they're very, very hard on the local flora. So it is actually one that people try to avoid if possible, um, because of its damage that it can do to the other plants, to the native plants. However, it is a useful, very useful plant. Uh, we use the resin, the gum resin that is extracted from the leaves of the plant. Um, it is a diaphoretic, it is a rubefacient, stimulant, parasiticide, it's an analgesic, it's an antiseptic. Um, as far as folklore, facts, and history, camphor is one of those plants that has been used commonly throughout history. However, it has actually recently, or not recently, a while ago, it fell out of favor because people were using it improperly and they were being poisoned. If you look at the resin, if you eat the resin from the camphor plant, it's going to make you sick, like a lot of other things. Or if you eat the oil from camphor, it's going to make you sick. Not unlike other things, you shouldn't be eating it. That should go without saying. However, people didn't, I guess, pay attention to that and ingested it, and it made them sick. So as such, camphor actually went off the market. You didn't see it on the market very much, and it fell out of favor. It used to be used in place of mothballs, but you didn't see it really so much anymore. Now it's starting to make a comeback. You can go into a lot of health food stores and buy camphor oil. You can buy blocks of camphor um, on Amazon. So you're starting to see it make a comeback. But for a while there, it went away because people were not being wise about using it and were ingesting it and getting sick because of that. So, but it has a lot of uses. So let's talk about that a little bit. So camphor is a really great household pest repellent. I use this in the summertime to get rid of ants. It works really, really well as an ant repellent. It also gets rid of other pests as well, roaches, things like that. It is commonly used in oils, liniments, and fomentations to relieve sore muscles. It's excellent at this. This is probably one of its best uses. Probably oils and liniments, things like that, to relieve sore muscles is probably its second best use. Its first best use, and what we commonly see it used for, is to alleviate congestion. Um, it's commonly used in humidifiers, as an additive in humidifiers to help people with bad congestion. It's used in VapoRub, in Vicks VapoRub. If you've ever seen VapoRub or other chest rubs, camphor's a common ingredient um, to help with sore throats and congestion. That's probably the number one thing we see it used for. Now, it's also used to help keep silver from tarnishing. If you put a block of camphor in with your silver, it will keep it from tarnishing. It's also been used as a pest repellent to keep away moths instead of mothballs. It's actually probably a better choice than mothballs, in fact. However, it should not be used internally. I said this before and I'm going to say it again. This is why camphor fell out of favor with people, is because people were ingesting it, I think mistakenly, um, but still it was a problem. So always be aware with camphor. It's a really great helper, but um, you have to be wise and use it responsibly. So, all right, so let's talk about our preparation for today. Our preparation today is a fomentation. So what is a fomentation? A fomentation is a preparation made by using an herbal tea or a decoction, usually a decoction, and then dipping the towel into the tea, applying it to the skin as hot as possible without burning the skin. Then you cover it with you can cover it with a heating pad or a water bottle. This is not necessary, but a lot of people do this to kind of give it a little bit of an extra oomph and make it work a little bit better. So that is what a fomentation is. So what I want you to do now is I've left you a link to this video about making poultices and fomentations. This particular video is about making fomentation. So go ahead, watch that video today. Once you finish the video, go ahead and answer your weekly questions. And if you have any questions for me, let me know. And otherwise, I will see you next week. Bye-bye.